He was going for position, put himself out of position.
You wonder why Alexander Volkanovski would accept a fight on 10 days' notice against one of the most dominant UFC champions today, Islam Makhachev. You are not alone. Preparing for months to fight Islam could hardly be considered salvation, let alone days. And here we are, about to witness a rematch between these two UFC royals, which leads to the question, did Volkanovski figure Makhachev out the first time they fought, and how will he utilize it against him? Based on the interviews Volk had after the fight, he regretted not doing something that could have potentially turned the tables back then. But this time, we can be sure as hell that he will. We will take a closer look at the first time they fought and what Alex would do differently this time to win the contest, which is why he accepted the fight on short notice in the first place. Makhachev versus Volkanovski 1. These two pound-for-pound kings made their first dance on February 12, 2023, for the UFC lightweight title on the line. The first 2 minutes were calm, and the storm was initiated by Volk, who switched stance and caught the Sambo specialist with a left straight that made his legs go limp. Alex decided to play Russian roulette and paid the price when Islam made him bend the knee for a second. Makhachev capitalized on that by stalking the great, who was retreating, and who got him in a clinch position where he could utilize his superior judo and sambo throws. He scored a takedown, but couldn't inflict much damage from there, and attempting to submit Alex was the same as trying to climb Mount Everest on flip-flops. In the second round, Volkanovski went on the hunt. He steered the victim into an ambush and pulled the trigger, dropping the Russian, who was desperately seeking refuge by grabbing his legs. Islam tried the same technique he did the first time, but this time Alex was ready and scrambled back to his feet, slowly shrinking Islam's confidence. Volk went on an offensive, and Makhachev caught him with a straight left on the way out, discouraging him from exchanging strikes with him. Volk stayed composed and ended the round strong, controlling the bigger guy in the clinch. The Australian gained momentum in the third by mixing his weapons up, and he started it with a big leg kick that made Makhachev do the chicken dance. The Russian was eager to take the fight to his own domain, but Volk was now ready and refused to fight the battle on the enemy's territory, and retaliated with fire on the feet. The great stalked the enemy and launched missiles, dropping the Sambo specialist again. But then in the fourth, Islam showcased the beauty of Sambo by executing a perfectly timed takedown in an attempt to drag the Australian to deep waters and drown him. Although Makhachev's body triangle is a snake pit for many, Volk proved to be quite the mongoose, refusing to let the opposition cause much damage, even less a submission. On the contrary, Islam only had control, but it was Alex who was the one who was punching the Russian from that position. In the final round, Volkanovski went on Makhachev like a predator after prey, initiating a brawl. The Sambo specialist tried to take the fight down, but Alex had already become bulletproof to that technique and reversed the position easily. Islam's gas tank was running low, and he kept attempting to pound a nail with a glass hammer. And then, in the closing minute of this epic battle, Volk launched the mother of all bombs, which knocked Makhachev down to the canvas. From there on, it was a one-sided pounding, and Volkanovski was the one swinging the hammer. In the end, the outcome of this competitive clash was decided by the judges, and Makhachev had his hands raised in a close bout that many thought Volkanovski won. By the way, if you've enjoyed our videos so far, please knock out that subscribe button and help us reach 1,000 subs. While many praised Volk's performance against Islam, the Australian was not happy with himself since he realized only afterward what he could have done differently to win the fight, which leads to the question, did Volkanovski figure Makhachev out, and will he capitalize on it in the rematch? The Australian fighter of Macedonian origin expressed dissatisfaction with his performance, not because he fought poorly, but because he could have done more to win. According to what Alex said, he thought that Makhachev was way stronger than he actually was, and due to this reason, he couldn't focus on his offense more, but instead, he was too busy focusing on the defense.
I'm disappointed. I know I could have done more. I could have capitalized on the things earlier as well. I did think he was going to be stronger, and I probably could have done more earlier.
The Australian realized that he should have focused on his striking offense more, since even if Islam was going for a takedown, he couldn't do much out of it. Not only that, but it seems that Alex even found gaps in Islam's game, which he would probably capitalize on in the rematch.
He was going for position, put himself out of position. Again, I could have got some of those. Man, I told you. strong. Like I'm telling you, I could have definitely got more takedowns if I really wanted.
Unfortunately for Volk, the moment of realization came only after the fight, and he was eager to have the rematch as soon as possible so that he could do the right things now, which leads to the final question. Will Makhachev versus Volkanovski 2 be any different than the first fight? In the upcoming rematch, Islam Makhachev is the big betting favorite for a reason. He's been preparing to fight, and he is fighting in Abu Dhabi in front of his own people. On the other hand, Volk accepted this fight on 10 days' notice, without a training camp, and he wasn't even preparing for this scenario. However, everybody believes that Islam has a clear advantage due to the preparations and the home advantage factor, which gives him a bit of pressure because he can't let his fans down. As for Volkanovski, he has no pressure at all. He was on the couch when they called him, and he had no proper training. And even if he does lose, there's nothing wrong with it due to the obvious factors. But if he wins, nobody can deny the fact that he is one of the greatest UFC fighters of all time. However, beating Makhachev, who is in shape and his weight cutting going smoothly, is a tough task for anyone, let alone fighting him as unprepared as Volk. Islam's wrestling will be on point, and he will have the 5-round cardio for this bout. Volk is known to be a cardio freak who never tires, but he is not in fighting shape in this particular match. The cardio seemed to be one of the crucial factors why Volk could capitalize in the closing round, and now that advantage is gone due to the lack of preparation. Nevertheless, Volkanovski is a superior striker and slightly better on the feet than Islam. If Volk could study Islam's takedown game all this time and figure out a way to stop it, he could potentially pull an upset. He realizes his mistakes from the first fight, and he is not going to repeat them. The Great would probably initiate a brawl on feet early, and Islam would seek refuge on the canvas. If Volk manages to stop Islam's first few takedown attempts, his confidence will shrink, and Alex can slowly start gaining momentum on the feet. Islam's striking abilities don't match up to Alex's expertise in stand-up fighting. However, by consistently threatening the takedown, Volk can expose openings, and a well-executed overhand right from the Russian could swiftly conclude the fight. Islam has demonstrated this tactic in the past against Gleison Tibau and could employ it again. Nonetheless, the likelihood of such a scenario is quite low, emphasizing Makhachev's need to close the distance on Volk as soon as possible. Sambo practitioners like Makhachev are renowned for their chain wrestling approach. In contrast to traditional American wrestlers who wait for opportune moments to shoot for a takedown, Sambo wrestlers engage in continuous movement, applying relentless pressure and attempting a series of takedowns. They persistently advance, seizing one takedown opportunity after another. If the initial takedown fails, they swiftly transition to the next, wearing down the opponent until they yield their position. If Makhachev effectively executes his game plan, he shouldn't encounter significant challenges against the Australian fighter. Should Volk successfully defend against Islam's takedown attempts, it's plausible to envision him gaining an advantage on the scorecards, and possibly even securing a late knockout. Moreover, Islam has yet to face an opponent as tactically adept at striking as Volk. Alex is renowned for his consistent feints and deceptive moves, while Makhachev tends to lean back predictably. If Alex employs a feigned jab followed by a powerful overhand right, it could swiftly end the fight, rendering Makhachev's Sambo expertise ineffective. Adriano Martins was the first to demonstrate this strategy, and Volk is likely to adopt a similar approach in countering Makhachev. Volkanovski's decision to accept the fight on short notice showcases his willingness to adapt and capitalize on missed opportunities from their first encounter. Expressing dissatisfaction with his defensive approach in the previous bout, Volkanovski is eager to focus on a more aggressive striking strategy against Makhachev. While facing challenges due to his lack of a full training camp, Volkanovski's recognition of Makhachev's strengths and weaknesses presents a strategic advantage. Makhachev, being the betting favorite with superior wrestling and cardio, will enjoy the home advantage and heightened expectations from his local fans. Conversely, Volkanovski carries minimal pressure, having accepted the fight spontaneously and without a full training regimen. Although Makhachev possesses a formidable wrestling game, Volkanovski's superior striking skills and potential improvements in takedown defense give him a path to potentially pull off an upset. By addressing his past mistakes and adapting his approach, Volkanovski aims to initiate a stand-up brawl and deter Makhachev's takedowns, ultimately gaining momentum in the fight. The rematch promises an exhilarating and closely contested battle, with both fighters showcasing their respective strengths and evolving strategies. Only the outcome of their upcoming clash will unveil the true effectiveness of Volkanovski's adjustments against Makhachev's formidable skills and meticulous preparation. At the end of the day, if you must bet your house on somebody, do it on Makhachev. However, there is no doubt that this fight will be closer than anyone can anticipate, and at the end of it, there is a big chance that Alexander Volkanovski will pull one of the biggest underdog stories in UFC history. And what do you guys think? Do you believe Volk can shock the world? How do you think this fight will go? Leave your thoughts in the comments. And if you would like to watch more videos like this, give that like button a powerful punch, and make sure to subscribe to our channel. Let's hit that 1,000 subscriber mark together and keep the excitement going in the octagon.